Hey friends, welcome back to another Monday Musing, where I just take a topic from the community and we pull it apart to the best that we can in an unedited fashion that just gives you a little taste of what's going on inside my head. I apologize for that. My name is Tim, and I am a professional dungeon master running over 300 games a year. But today, user ZZ6KR5R5RW3I. I'm just going to call him User Gibberish. User Gibberish brings us the topic today, asking how to make food and foraging challenging in light of Goodberry. Now, the really short answer, and I hate this answer, and I hate giving this answer, but the really short answer is you generally don't. Now, that said, one, the fact that you can't make things super challenging in a traditional environment with spells like Goodberry, Create Water, Tiny Hut, and all the others that nullify the foraging survival aspect of the game. Now, the fact that you can't do those in a normal situation does not necessarily mean that you can't do it sometimes. What it does mean is that when you are in a normal situation, it has to be okay that you just can't do that. We just have to accept that the game is designed to make the players capable of nullifying certain challenges at certain points in their career, and for whatever reason, a throwback from a really long time ago, food and water is a challenge that we have invalidated from the very beginning for those players that choose to invest in that. And you're going to find that in a campaign that advertises a lot of wilderness survival and that sort of thing, you are going to discover that you have an above average number of players that have, for whatever reason, decided to be that level of prepared. Go figure. And so they completely overcome it. When I ran Tomb of Annihilation, for instance, the fact that they're going to be in the deadly jungles of Chult meant that not only did most of my party have all sorts of things already figured out to take care of stuff, but I also ended up with a pair of druids. You can imagine that that pretty much took care of that for Wilderness Challenge, right? We had to go different routes, and that's just what worked in that particular game, and I had to be okay with that. Now, there are a couple of ways that you can still incorporate this kind of a challenge into your campaigns. That was Mama Bear. She was gracing me with her presence, but now she's off and about. There are a couple of exceptions and opportunities that you can use to either temporarily or systemically make food and foraging a challenging part of the game. The first and foremost of them is if you decide that that is a major theme of your game at day one and session 0, and you talk about it with your players. You tell them what spells or abilities you're removing from the game because you don't want to invalidate that challenge, and because you want to make that challenge a core part of their experience and make it exciting in some fashion. All right, if you can get player buy-in on that, you're golden. You can get rid of those spells and you can carry on that way. That's one option. Another method that you can use, especially at the lower levels, because the higher level your characters are, obviously the more they're going to invalidate this stuff, but at lower levels, dangerous days of travel where you might have potentially multiple encounters during the day that wear down resources is one way to kind of try to limit the amount to which those spells are being utilized to overcome things, especially if, for instance, there's a solid chance of a nighttime interference and encounter. Those nighttime problems, if they crop up regularly enough that your players can't be certain that they will get a long rest without needing those extra spell slots, then that is an opportunity for you to push them to minimize how much they're overcoming it. There's some argument that good berries in particular might not provide water as well as nourishment in the food sense, but it's a little bit up in the air on what the rules as intended or rules as written are on that, and there's a bit of back and forth. However, extreme conditions can make it to where you need more than a day's worth of nourishment, either in food or water. Particularly the rules for extreme heat demand a excess of gallons of water for every character, and you can easily rule that is not given with the baseline that a goodberry gives you, so that a traipse through the jungles of Chult, for instance, might require more than just goodberry, though again, create water is a thing. You can also provide additional mouths that the player characters are responsible for. If, for instance, your adventure centered around a remote village that was going through a drought and needed resources to be given to them, they needed the characters and relied upon them, then that would be an issue for them. If they had to escort a group of pilgrims across country and defend them from monsters, keep them from dying, and also help them out by providing food and water, because these are just poor peasant folk religiously slogging their way across the plains or whatever, you could add to the resource drain so that goodberry becomes a stopgap to help in the food and foraging minigame, but doesn't necessarily completely overpower it, because they just need too much every day and they have to manage their resources and protect the hunters that are going out looking for what is going to feed that passage of refugees. That's also an opportunity for an individual quest to sort of feel out those rules and that option and help your players get accustomed to it and see if perhaps they would like it, because if they hate that kind of play, of which I've had players that definitely do, if they are not interested in managing day-to-day resources, then forcing them to do so is not going to improve your game at your table. What you want to do is get their buy-in, make it fun, provide additional perks and benefits and resources, perhaps magical plants that they discover while they're searching for food that allow them to have additional boons and benefits, or something of that nature that makes the game a little bit more interesting for them and makes it more than just a survival check in order to discover how many pounds of food they got for the day, and managing it around carefully to make sure that nobody goes more than X number of days without a decent meal. So, user gibberish, I am not sure whether that answers your question in the way that you would like it to be answered, but I hope it does give you a couple of opportunities to put that in front of your players, and hopefully they will enjoy it. If you have had any kinds of experiences out there with food and foraging and you would like to share with the community, please make sure to drop a comment down below. If you haven't yet liked and subscribed and yet you just sat through this conversation, then please like and subscribe, of course. And also, one last thing, if you have a topic that you would like mused upon, then please go ahead and leave a message so that I can answer your question to the best of my ability. Thanks so much for watching, and happy adventuring.